The first pain that black people must take is to acknowledge that as a collective, they are backward, they are underdeveloped. They need to have a real conversation that is painful about that. I told you I study societies all over the world. The turning point, the first turning point in the non-white world, because the whites, especially in the 19th and the 20th century, the whites were ahead of the rest in the world, development-wise. The rest were backward. The first group to raise themselves to the level of whites in terms of development, and this group became very proud, were the Japanese. And the Japanese did that because there was an intellectual revolution within Japanese society, and it was led by a visionary elite, the Meiji Empire from 1868. They asked themselves the question, why is it that these white people are so powerful? They are so ahead of us. What is the difference between us and them? You know, the Meiji Empire, they actually sent a delegation to go to the West, to go to America, to go to Europe, and say, go and study those people. What makes them to be ahead of us? When that delegation came back, first thing said, we as Japanese must acknowledge that we are backward. That's the starting point. If you do not acknowledge that you are backward, you will never address your backwardness. That's number one. Number two, they said there is no difference between us as Japanese and white people. We are all human.
Right.
We have heads, we have brains.
So what's the difference?
The
Culture.
only difference
is it a cultural issue?
Education. That's what the Japanese said. Simple. It's education. And the Japanese realized that it's not education in general. It's technical education, maths and science. So there was a deliberate investment by Japanese society that Japanese kids must study maths and science. And over time, Japan as a society, non-white, rose to the level of whites, to the extent that by the 70s and the 80s, Japan was the second largest economy in the world, having beaten the rest of Europe, by the way. It was America, number two was Japan.
And I remember I was living in New York at the time, and everything was the Japanese investors, and you're right.
China did the same.
Right.
Deng Xiaoping had to do a soul searching. And he said, we are backward. So the starting point, acknowledge that you are backward. Two, education, maths and science, in order to catch up with the West. So, black people, if black people want to turn themselves around, firstly, and I say this boldly, they must acknowledge that they are backward. Secondly, they must wake up and adopt maths and science as their national priority. Black kids must study maths and science. Let me tell you, if you do what I'm telling you, over time, a period of 20 to 30 years, black people will be ahead of many other groups in the world. That's how others have done so. Go and study East Asia, you will see.
But you look at the American applications for business schools and law schools, primarily Asian. The Asians are outperforming in math, science, engineering. It's extraordinary how they've committed themselves to math and science.
Well. Don't go to America, and I'll come back to that. Look here in South Africa, who are the top performers? Do you know who are the top performers in math and science? It's Indians. It's Indians right here in South Africa. Yeah. And the Indians are a minority. They don't worry about some nonsensical, ideological stuff that people debate on a daily basis. You know what they do?
They study.
Yeah, they study. And what does that do? It lifts them above the rest. Black people are busy talking about Umkhonto weSizwe, a backward force. I mean, Umkhonto weSizwe, the EFF, these people are an embodiment of backwardness.
Yeah.
Everything that they're calling for It's stuff that will drag black people to the Middle Ages. It's not something that will dig black people out of poverty.